Hi, Corey here. Coming in to do the not weekly message, the message for the weekend for the 22nd. I'm struggling with getting this message out. I've been trying to record it since yesterday. Just not that I'm struggling with, with listening or communicating the to the spirits, to my channeled messages or to God. Um, I'm struggling with me. And I'm struggling with who I am. And I'm struggling with being who am I on this other side? Who am I after I have just went through a whirlwind of life changes over the past 4 or 5 years? And it's just like life has just put the brakes on and turned me around and said, you have to stop, face it all now. Look at you. And that's the good, bad, and the ugly. And not to look deep in with, the healing part, the healing aspect, but knowing who I am, like, who do I want to be now? And that was a question that I wrote in my journal was, who do I want to be? If I'm going to, who do I want to be as a person? Who do I want to be in life? And what do I want to do when I grow up? And we are right now, we have the we have Chiron um gone into Mercury, I think it is, or Mercury, like we have a retrograde kind of energy. We have Mercury, we have Chiron just acting up. And so Chiron is the wounded healer. And what the wounded healer has us do is to look in deep. Now, I'm in Aries. If you're in Aries, well, you've had Chiron in your chart probably for me, I since 2018. And at this turning point, and I've been talking a lot in my channel message about turning the mirror around. It's like the satellite dish that turns around and looks, directly in. It's like all frequencies we can see clearly. Well, that's what we're being asked to do for ourselves, is the mirrors being turned around. Instead of judging the world, instead of looking out at the world and wondering why the world is not providing, what maybe you want it to give, is that there's something deeper that's just saying, and sometimes even sinister, even hypocritical, like but it's also love and joy and happiness, like everything is out there. And so as I'm trying to record this message and hear parts of myself, and I'm just like feeling like I just want to give the best message, like just show up, like just be happy, or kind of be that, be the image of a spiritual healer, guide, teacher, whatever people have in the personas, like the expectations of the identity of who you are. And instantly I'm like, I can't fucking do this no more. And I can't be anything that doesn't feel authentic or real to myself, because then I'll be betraying myself. I was sitting in dream state last night and working through shamanic dream state work and asking for, you know, what would I, what do I want the world, how do I want the world to change? Or what would I pray for the world? And what came up for me was, I pray for the world to stop being in a state of betrayal, where we betray ourselves, we betray each other, we betray the essence of God, of goodness, of benevolence, of the virtues, and we stop betraying that aspect of self to just be somebody, to just be somebody. And as I look in without judgment, I think, even so much as when you figure you have to be the spiritual person. So you get this chat, this, oh, I have to be soft, I have to be gentle, I have to be this. And I'm like, then you're moving farther away. You're going back into those boxes, that not authentic self. And so as I look behind and see there's a pile of paintings behind me, the message that I was getting was a very personal message. And it's a very personal message that I really want to be able to share. So I have Archangel Ezekiel that has been appearing, well, for a long time, but Archangel Ezekiel, and then Mary Magdalene. This is being recorded on that feast of the celebration, the feast of Mary Magdalene Day. And so for me in walking with the holy realm and working with the holy realm. I just remember points in my life where I would be told, you shouldn't have that out as a hairstylist. You shouldn't have Buddha out on your counter. You shouldn't have your Reiki certificates up. You shouldn't have your cards out. And there was periods of times when I'd listen, and then other times I'd be defiant to that. And it's like, F you. But I remember this one pivotal point when I had given a client a haircut. And up until then, it was just a relationship of hairstylist, client, never a sense of knowing anything about my life. Well, this time she came in, and on the floor, I had just completed my Reiki master teacher training. And I was very proud of myself for what I had done in that journey. And that journey wasn't about the certificate or about what was about being able to have that certificate. It was about what I had accomplished for myself. And what I had accomplished for myself was to be able to go from getting up every morning and being very unkind, calling myself a murderer, crying in the vehicle, in the driveway before I'd go to work, and then putting the face on for the world. I went from that to believing that I experienced, that all of these experiences in life had been things that have given me great wisdom through the pain stories, through the hurt stories, but that I didn't have to wear a mask anymore, that I could start peeling back those layers. Now, I didn't realize how long that would take, and that it was going to be a lot of peeling back that would come in. But in the time, so when this person left, they returned about an hour later with an envelope with my name on it. And she laid it on my station, and she said, "Oh, I just bought you back your tip." And I said, "No, you already gave me a tip. You left me a very generous tip. Like, you don't know, take that back." And she said, "No, it's for you. It's a gift for you." It wasn't a gift. It was a $5 bill and a pamphlets from her church. It was judgment in an envelope with my name on it. And when I opened it, it was about becoming a Christian, finding my way, becoming that right person. And, and instantly I thought hurt. I thought of the hurt. I thought of, why do people keep judging me? Why is it like, can you not see that I am happier? Can you not see that I'm not so angry? Can you not see that I'm not projecting out like attitude and anger, and that I've softened? Well, over time, enough of that judgment takes even those who are trying to be soft and turns us harsh. Because no matter what you're doing, sometimes you will just never be enough for this world. You'll never be enough for other people. Somebody has an opinion. Everybody has some sort of opinion, some sort of judgment. And so you become that you create then that character, that avatar of which you're going to live in. So you become the essence of, well, I'll become even soft and I'll look like a gentle little butterfly. I'll be meek. So then they'll just think, oh, she's just a meek little soul, or she's this, or she's that, because it's trying to get the world to see that we are good people, that we are still good people. We may not live a specific way, but we're still good people. But in the meantime, you become not good to yourself. You become unkind because you sell your soul, right? You sell, it's that journey, selling your soul to the devil. What are you selling your soul to? What are you investing in just to be accepted, just to belong, just to be a part of something? And so this past few years, it really dismantled all of that for me. When I started any of this journey, when I was a hairstylist, when I was any of my work, I always say I never get invited anywhere. I remember there being a massive, big wellness things that would be put off by our town or, different organizations. And I would be probably I would be I guess how would you put it? The one walking forward, the one that was walking in her truth and living as that spiritual guide, that spiritual teacher. I was leading that way in their community. But I would be I would not be invited. And they would bring in out of town people. They would bring in people that were so-called aligned to their ego of acceptance or enough, whatever that may be. And so you'd never be the person to be invited to speak. You never be invited to be that person. Well, what did I do? I started to create my own world. And through creating my own world, through creating my own work, through all of that, I stopped waiting to be accepted. And I started the journey of how would I accept myself? And so when I start asking these questions again now is, I can't betray myself anymore. And so where do I belong? I can't sell myself for followers. I can't be anything other than me. And I don't know who and what I even want to be on the other side of all of this journey, as I'm in that sense of that magnetic love towards my own self and my heart, and being balanced and not having to be in a push-pull, a tug of war, not wearing the mask. So that story really does speak volumes to where we all are right now. Now, Archangel Ezekiel comes in with that sense of freedom, that setting things right. But he also, Ezekiel is really tied to benevolence. And benevolence is just like that of unconditioned love. It is ultimate level of kindness. It means there's no excuse. Just as if unconditional love. If you have an expectation, a judgment, an opinion, and how somebody, what people have to do to be loved by you, then that's not unconditional. It is conditioned. And we have been very conditioned. Archangel Ezekiel is bringing forth that sense of benevolence, kindness, that sense of, being aware of no longer sacrificing yourself. I will not allow you to sacrifice yourself. We may be pushed to the brink to be able to see, but to sacrifice ourselves, and to be kind to ourselves, to really truly think of kindness. And the more that I even look into this world, and it's like, if the right person will have you on their show, if the right person will have you on their podcast, or if the right person is, you're just waiting, you're always waiting for that right person that has, that it to be able to help you get to be seen. And that can become very frustrating. So bring that into an everyday scale, a child waiting to be accepted, a child waiting to be popular, a child waiting to be just friggin' enough. And we become so early in life, so unkind to ourselves. And so all this sense of unkind was a compound of a lot of years of hurt, because my door was always open to everyone. My world was open to anybody. And without that judgment, without that, not saying I was perfect, don't get me wrong, I'm human, but I mean, it had boundaries, of course, but there is that sense of knowing that kindness. And so Archangel Ezekiel really came in and said, explore that benevolence, to be kind for no reason. And that is the part of the ego of that we are trying to reinstate, restore, replenish, because we have lost, or not lost, but we have kind of contaminated that. We have let that part of the ego, that super ego, become kind of watered down virtues, watered down codes of ethics, watered down sense of value. And when we water down the value, we are discounting ourselves. And so a large part of what we've been doing in our world and our work is because we have become in the virtual world, is we've kind of watered ourselves down in a lot of ways. And restoring that and knowing full well of where I've been, what I've accomplished over the past 50 years, 51 years of my life, is knowing now that you can't live in those lies. So my second book is wrote about the half-hearted truth that we tell ourselves. Oh, my friends, my friends, my friends. Well, are those people really your friends? Are they there for you? Who's there for you? When are you, and are you there for yourself? So when Zedekiel started to come through, Zedekiel gave me a pile of writings, which I can't share them all but this is Zedekiel. That's how Zedekiel appeared. And it was just in the sense of just knowing, because I can't share it all because I still have to record my conversations with the angels. Mercy. I show you mercy. You have to show yourself mercy. And so in this space where we are, in this void, in this middle world, in this place of nothing, everything and nothing, we may find ourselves being very wanting to kind of sacrifice the uncomfortable for comfortable, wanting to sacrifice the sense of not knowing for knowing. And those are sacrifices that you don't think about, right? It's like you want to sacrifice the unknowing for knowing. I want to know. You want to sacrifice that uncomfortable for comfortable. You want to sacrifice the darkness for light. But what if that's where you're going to find the truth of you, is by staying in the things that you keep sacrificing because you're trying to stay in a knowing, in an awareness, in a place of still seeking out acceptance, love, or being afraid to say, I don't know what's next. And I think I'm going to rest right here. I think I'm going to pause right here. I think I'm going to stay right here and allow yourself to be right there and be that truth. Because what this beautiful guardian of Zedekiel is telling us is that we allow you that space for your free will. But when we see that you are ultimately sacrificing everything, we ask of you to show yourself mercy, to sit back, to not to be so judgmental, to see things a little bit differently. But when we become kind, it's a trickiness because we want to become kind to everyone and everything, but we have to remember the kindness also refers to you. So are you still wearing the persona, the personality, the image of the self that you've dressed up, the shadow you've dressed up, the shadow that you've created, the shadow that you've educated, the shadow that you've put out into the world, all of those things? Are you still those? Or are you now starting to strip that all down and allowing yourself to see that you're nothing of what you dressed up to be? You're nothing of what you created yourself to be. That maybe right now, this deep-seated journey we're on is to really see that in such a big way within ourselves, so that then we can also see the illusions that we are sold as truths in this world. So there's much to discover. There's much to explore. There's much that is taking place, and there's much that is in the process of change. You may find yourself this weekend wanting to not be kind. You may find yourself this weekend hearing some of those thoughts go through your mind. It's like, how come nobody invites me? I don't get invited anywhere, right? And all of those things. And for those, I say thank you. But but knowing that your world has to be yours to create. So, I created my own salon and spa. I created my own, because I couldn't betray myself. I could, the world could betray, the world can neglect you, the world can discount you, the world can think you're not valuable and worthy. That's their choice. But it's not okay for you to do it to yourself. And when you stop doing it to yourself, the world around you starts to stand up and pay attention. And so as you come into that place of knowing, that's the biggest freedom. I'm done being anything for anyone else. And I'm done putting on the clothes and creating the life and all of that for the aspects that are not even my truth. They're what I became. And when we're done becoming all of those things, we got the opportunity to become everything we are here to be. And so we do have a lot of disruption, a lot of eruption happening in the energy, and a lot of truth that are unfolding. And that is very uncomfortable. That's not comfortable. That can be very uncomfortable. Do you run back to the comfort? Do you keep trying to explain yourself, justify yourself, whatever it may be? Or do you just say, I'm just going to sit in this uncomfortableness and just going to wait this out, and then I'll stand again, and I won't be uncomfortable. Others may, but I will not. And so who am I on the other side of all of this? Who am I as I come through this? And what do I want to see happen in the world? What do I want to see and change in the world? Peace, it's love, whatever that is, you have to find your way to that within you first. And the more that then, the more of us that become that, the quicker the world will be. But we have a major dismantling happening, major dismantling. We have so many things that are at play right now. We have so much energy. We have a lot of spikes in the energy, in the, in the earth's energy. We have a lot that's happening on the outside of us. We have a lot of things that's really truly making some real changes. And yeah, and so I was just gonna put cards, but I'm like, I don't even want to do cards, but here I am holding the cards. And so there's those emotions upside down. There's the crab. We just came out of Cancer season and we're in Leo. So we are just beginning the journey back, and the passion and desire. And that's where we are, is that even in this pause moment, there's a passion, there's a desire to know who we are at the core, to know, who am I? And what do I like? What do I like? What do I no longer like? Asking from that place, because if you don't ever sit and ask yourself those questions, or if you've ever asked yourself like 5 years ago and you haven't asked them since, well, you're not the person from 5 years ago. So there's a lot of change that's happening. And so this, you may be seeking and searching to have enough, like have enough to drink, have enough to eat. But in the meantime, there's the fish in the water, right? There is a fish. So you may be drinking water, thinking about food, and there's food right next to you. And so opening our eyes, opening our thoughts, opening up to what else is possible. We have the high priestess who also is holding the chalice, right? So it's like when you start to marry into spirit and you start to connect to spirit, you start to live from spirit. It's amazing how many more things will appear for you to see things in a new light, a different perspective. But there's lots of changes. I have a shift of energy that's happening. So I feel like what they're telling me is that, all of that's the message there. But as I speak that, there's something big coming down. We have something very big in the energy. And wherever that energy is and whatever that is happening, it just says to me that there is going to be some sort of like something loud, something that we can't ignore, something that a storm of all storms, a storm of all storms. And I also have a very not well person in charge. So there's, that seeking freedom, we have to look at, have we freed ourselves first? Have we freed ourselves first? Before we want the world to give us that freedom, have we freed ourselves first? Free ourselves from all the things that held us hostage so that we then know what we are standing for. to be in that sense of freedom. But there's something also big that's happening, and I just could feel the shit. I could feel myself slipping, going back, losing my sense of where I was, and it's just like they moved the energy, shifted the energy. It is heavy, it is dense, it is like just like I just want to close my eyes. There's just something, I want to close my eyes and not wake up. That's the only way I can say, is there's just like there is a big, massive ending of some sort. Something is ending. And it's just like the pause that comes after. It's like the whole world just goes silent and still. And I just like, after this darkness, after this, like, holy crap. I didn't see that coming. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. But we don't want to see things. We only want to see what we want to see, believe what we want to believe. And we're being told to open our eyes, open our hearts, open our third eye, and keep looking and looking and looking all the way around. You can't stop what comes, but know that it is coming, not out of anger, not that Mother Earth is angry, but a full evolutionary breakthrough that's unfolding. And I don't know exactly what it looks. All I just keep seeing, all goes dark. All comes back on, but all goes dark. But I just see everybody just standing, mouth wide open, shocked, floored, and a little bit of guilt and a little bit of, self-judgment. And it's like, not really responsible for that. So, and I do have a lot of that, hypocritical energy, a lot of judgment that is just flowing around on the outside. Let them talk. Who cares? Let them do whatever. Who cares? Stay true to you. Because when you are loving, kind, and compassionate, is that you don't have to be looking at the land and what's behind. You can be looking at the sea, looking at the horizon on the other side and thinking, I want to get there. I want to get there. And that's where we're heading, is to get there, to be able to trust yourself, right? Self-sacrificing, loving, compassionate, psychic, self-sacrificing, deep psychic insight, caring for others, but forgetting to take care of yourself. Trust your intuition, a deep love for family and friends, follow your heart, right? And so we're being told that we got to include ourselves. You've got to be a willing participant. You've got to be the change agent in making a change. Say, I'm not going to be forgotten. I'm not going to forget myself. And I am now very aware that this over here is not for me, and I need to get over there. So it's just so much at play, so much at play. Hope in some way that this message resonates with you. It's so all over the place. Much love and have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.